this is Mark, and welcome back to Candle Shore. So let's get right into it. So the other day, as usual in my world, everything happens the other day. A friend and I let's just say we were going out to dinner, okay? And we kind of planned it for a while. When I say planned it, it was maybe 3 or 4 hours earlier. She had said, hey, do you want to go out and get something to eat? And I said, yeah, let's go out. We haven't been out for a while. And I'm trying to recall the actual specifics, but what it came down to is I had decided that we could go to one of her favorite restaurants because, we usually take turns going to mine and to hers or whatever. And this time, for whatever reason, there's this one restaurant that she really likes, and it's a steakhouse. I'm not particularly fond of it. The last couple of times we've been there, it hasn't been that great. But I thought, you know what? I'm feeling generous. I really wasn't that hungry. And maybe that's what it comes down to. I wasn't really that hungry. So I thought, well, what the heck? Okay. So, she can, we'll do what she wants. Well, we were in the car and everything was fine. And we were turning the corner. There's a point at which, you can go to all these different restaurants and on all these different streets right off of this one main street. And she stopped, I remember, and she kind of pulled on, she goes, are you sure you want to go to this restaurant? Is that okay? And I shouldn't have done it. And I said, I don't know. Do you really want to go to this restaurant? And so this is where the food talk began, because when I started thinking about it on the date, I'm just using the term date for lack of a better word, but I decided, maybe I really do want to go and get something I want. In which case, I didn't really want to go to the steakhouse. So I said, well, kinda. And she said, well, so what do you want? I said, I don't know. Because you see, in my mind, I had been planning to go to this steakhouse with her. But now, for whatever reason, I don't know. It just became open to debate, right? So I'd start listing a couple of restaurants, and I would go through the names, but it doesn't matter. I was like, okay, do you want to go here? Maybe. And she goes, well, do you want to go here, Mark? And I was like, well, maybe. So for the next 25 to 30 minutes, we sat in the car on the side of this highway trying to figure out where to go. So I said, look, why don't we go over to this mall, and they got like 7 or 8 big restaurants there, and we'll decide there. So we drive over, and this whole time I'm running through scenarios on the menus. I mean, I know a lot of these menus, right? And of course, she's thinking, well, what do you want? And I'm thinking, well, I kind of want something with dessert. See, a lot of times, on rare occasions, I say a lot of times, but sometimes it's not about the main meal for me. It's about the dessert. So I don't really care where we go to eat as long as and a lot of these restaurants in this area have great entrees, but they really stink when it comes to desserts. I mean, they have everything's chocolate syrup, chocolate fudge chocolate fudge, chocolate brownie. And I like a little chocolate, but Jesus, a little bit of extra food, like maybe some caramel or some strawberry. So, I'm basing my decision. And it was weird because I don't know what the hell she was basing her decision on, but I was kind of basing mine at first was on the dessert. So we get to this mall, and she goes, okay, do you want to go to, I'm just going to throw some names out. This isn't necessarily what it came up with. She goes, you want to go to Payways? And I said, so then we played rock, paper, scissors. When you go rock, paper, it got so bad, right? And by the way, when we started out, it was 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Now we're up to 8:30, and we have not decided a thing. If anything, we're more confused. And she goes, well, I want to go get a salad. Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, I guess a salad, but I didn't really want a salad, and I didn't really want a salad place. And so we ended up going to this, I'm trying to think where we ended up. We ended up at some restaurant, and it was really, really dark. And there was a long line. And they said, well, it'll be 40 minutes before you can be seated. Now we're 9 o'clock already, and it's going to be, so I'm kind of, and she goes, okay, we don't have to go here. So then I said, well, you know what? Why don't we just go to the steakhouse that we were going to go to start with? That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? I'm like, okay, we get to the steakhouse. Now we're driving, of course. I want you to know all this time we're driving back and forth across the city. I'm leaving some of this out. We had probably covered now maybe 18 miles and nothing that either one of us is saying. And by the way, we're not in a bad mood about this. I'm just amazed, truly amazed at how what could have been a simple event turned into this. I liken it to when you are in a kitchen and you want something, but you can't figure out what you want. So what do? You start foraging through the kitchen and you start eating things you don't really want until you get you're full, but you're completely unsatisfied. This is what this felt like to me. So we finally get to the steakhouse and she goes, oh, and when you get to a restaurant at the end of the evening, the service staff, the wait, everybody, you can tell they want to go home and you're going to get the B team. The A team is already gone. They left already, right? And so we start looking through the buffet at this place. They had a salad bar and everything looks wilted. We had asked to look at the salad bar before we were seated. And she's looking at me and she says, the salad looks like it's all picked over. Well, it was 9:30 or 9:15 or so, right? We're both tired. I'm really hungry, but for what, I have no clue. She's upset, kind of upset, because I know somehow it all went wrong. I can't explain it. Again, we weren't arguing. There was no bad feelings between us, but somehow we had wasted the entire evening trying to figure out what we wanted to eat. So weird. It was so bizarre. And so finally at 9:30, or maybe 9:35, I said, you know what? Why don't we just go to McDonald's? And I was thinking at this point, okay, I better step back and punt, right? Which means go for something that I know will be good. And McDonald's always has what? Good French fries. Plus it was, the evening's shot. We're not going to get into any place that I don't think at that point, I certainly didn't know what I wanted at this point. At this point, it's all over. Okay, I'm thinking we've gone from the decent restaurants like the Cheesecake Factory. There's a restaurant here called Mimi's, maybe Claim Jumper. Insert name of second tier. I won't say at the top tier, but second tier. We have gone all the way down to places. I'm thinking at this point we've already gone through the Denny's and the Norms. Okay, because we actually went to Denny's and there was a line, believe it or not. And in the Norms, we walked in there and it smelled so badly. Oh, and we also tried Johnny Rockets. I don't know if some of these restaurants aren't going to make any sense to you, but it doesn't matter. It's just like a 50s diner. We walked in and the air conditioning was off and it smelled so greasy. This was somewhere around 8:30 to 8:45. I don't remember anymore. It was just all one big blur. So we had actually gone into several restaurants and so at around 9:35, maybe 9:45, I said, look, why don't we just do McDonald's? And I couldn't believe it. She said, okay. Right? So I want to tell you that I go through the drive-thru at McDonald's all the time, but I haven't been in a McDonald's to actually sit in the restaurant at least in 7 or 8, maybe 10 years. Really. So you can imagine my surprise. Well, okay, so we get to McDonald's and I'm thinking, well, regardless of what goes on, at least I'll have some decent fries, right? And I like the drinks they have because their drinks are so flat. They usually have this high C orange and it has no carbonation, which I personally like, right? And I'm thinking, I haven't had a quarter pounder with cheese in at least 8 to 10 years. So it'll be kind of fun, right? I mean, yeah, we started out doing one thing. It's going to turn out to be something else, but it won't be so bad. We can still salvage this thing. It'll still be fun, right? Right? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, was I wrong? Oh my God. Was I wrong? Okay, so we get to the McDonald's. First off, it is so bright. They must have just put fluorescent lights in this place, which is okay with me. I like to see what I'm doing. We get there, and there's a couple of people working. It's 10 o'clock now. This is on a Saturday, which should tell you how bad it really is, right? And my friend goes, well, let me look at the menu. And I'm like, what? I'm going to tell you something right now. Unless you don't live in this country or you've been under a rock for about the last 50 years, what the hell is there to read about the McDonald's menu? It has not changed in essence since 1968. Truly. All right. So, yeah, they got a McLatte maybe. Okay. But I mean, in terms of basic food, it really hasn't changed. So I'm famished. She's reading the menu and I'm rolling my eyes like, oh, sweet Jesus, right? I just can't believe this. So finally I order a quarter pounder combo. And I knew something was wrong when the lady behind the counter slams the tray to, okay, slam. She orders some McNuggets. And I'm still thinking we can salvage this. It will be fun because I'll get my hot fries. I'll have my drink. And you know what? This is comfort food, right? I mean, when in doubt, go with what you know. So I go sit down. They give us, the food comes out in less than maybe a minute. That should have been my second indication. This was going to be one of the worst meals of my lifetime. Believe it or not, the pain, we sat down. The fries were so bad. I've never seen McDonald's mess up their fries, but these fries didn't have any salt on them, which is, McDonald's fries are supposed to taste kind of greasy and not greasy, but salty and kind of hot and salty. These were cold, greasy, and no salt. And I just felt so disappointed, and I opened up the quarter pounder. The buns, really, I'm sure there are Tombstones that have more yield and more tastier than what these buns were on this quarter. It was disgusting. All right. And this is my opinion. I don't, McDonald's consume. Let me tell you something. It was the nastiest hamburger I've had in I don't know how long. It's amazing to me when I go to other fast food restaurants, how they're all trying to beat McDonald's when McDonald's has lost the game. Right. I mean, I've been to Burger King recently and Jack in the Box recently and Wendy's, and they've all had really good burgers. And then we were sitting there. There were these kids next to us, these family with kids that were screaming. She's looking at me. I'm looking at her like, can you believe that? And I finally said, can you believe? And this was all about food talk. We were talking even at McDonald's or the other restaurants we could have gone to or should have gone to. It's now 10:30. I only ate one half of my quarter pounder. That's all I could choke down. I mean, I remember when I ordered this thing, I said to the lady, did it have tomatoes on it? It had a tomato, or at least it had what a tomato would look like if it hadn't been hydrated in the last 60 years. All right. Yeah. I don't know how McDonald's stays in business, except that they're really big. I was so disappointed. The only thing that didn't disappoint me was the high C orange. It was as flat as usual. So that was good. What is the point of this dialogue or this monologue today? Is that when you are in those rare moments when you know what you want, go for it. Do not stop and talk about food too much, or you can end up in the same situation as we did, which is not knowing what we wanted, but it was just, it was really bad. It was, the whole evening was food talk. And in the next time I'm going to do something, I'm not going to delay. It's like, okay, we'll pick this place and go for it. Because what we did was think about it way too much. And I know a lot of people do that with their lives too, right? What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with this? Even any kind of decision making. If you ponder it for too long, you can paralyze yourself, which is effectively what we did. And by the way, I thought we'd get away with a cheap bill at McDonald's. It was like $19 or like $18 at McDonald's for two people. And I again, yes, I could have sent it back, but you think it would have been any better? Believe me, the people behind the counter were so angry. I don't know what they weren't angry at us, but man, they were slamming things and bam, 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 boom. I'm like, what the? And so we ended up laughing about it and go, we better get out while we can. So in the end, after spending the money, after wasting countless gallons of gasoline, after traversing half of the state, which seems like, and I'm not kidding about this, we really did go to no fewer than 9 restaurants. We discussed at least 40 restaurants. We ended up at McDonald's, and in the end, at the end of the day, at 11 o'clock, I'm back home, and I'm foraging through my kitchen for something to crunch on because I was hungry. Okay, there you have it. Huh? How's that? How's that for food talk? I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Oh man. All you can do sometimes is just remember to make a joyful noise. Okay. And so I'll remind you to do that, and I will see you back here soon. Take care.